Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies. We are inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh, where it's nice and dry, away from the wind. I don't know what it looks like outside right now. Hopefully nothing falls on my car, but we're here, baby. We're here. Big thanks to Empire Properties, and of course, big thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com, the official Kyocera printer of the 13U White Junior Canes Lower A travel team. It's also Thursday, Joe.
Put that on a shirt.
Right. It's Thursday. It's just past 2:00. What that mean?
Sleek Fleet Live, sleek-fleet.com. Check them out for all your needs. You don't want to mess around with this weather.
No.
Maybe you don't have a higher up car. Maybe you need a Yukon or something up off the ground. Check out my friend Tyler at Sleek Fleet, sleek-fleet.com. Football season's almost here.
Yeah, man.
Again, we've been talking a lot about parking passes and what works and what doesn't work. You know what works? Make an appointment with Sleek Fleet, sleek-fleet.com. Get yourself dropped off at the game. Drink as much as you like. Tyler and his crew will come pick you up, take you home nice and safe.
I feel like we should have used Sleek Fleet heading out to Sedgeville yesterday because I felt bad for Jackson sitting in the back of the Civic.
He survived.
The kid did not fit, dude.
No, he survived, though. He made it. He got his hoodie. Is that what he called it?
Yeah, the hoodie.
Hoodie.
I don't even know what it was.
About that.
I don't even know what it was. I saw some footage of Sedgefield, the 9th green that we did the show from right by Margaritaville, right?
Yeah.
Dude, it was a pool.
I know. I hate it, man.
Yeah, that stinks. That stinks. Look, man, it's hurricane protocols. Obviously, they're trying to get out there. No fans, at least the last time I checked as of us going here on the show. They're not doing any fans today. Hopefully the weather will break and they'll have a good time at the Wyndham over the weekend. And it was funny, you and I were having a conversation about whether we'd even show up to the studio. And I found yet again another difference between you, print man, and me, broadcast man.
What's that?
When there's a weather event, they do not give a shit. You show up. You got to be at the studio because you had to go into like emergency protocols, right? Like you have, like somebody has to be there to explain what's going on. Like I'll give you a prime example. Remember the infamous Duke's buses never arrived during the snowstorm and they couldn't get to Chapel Hill.
Right.
But really they were scared to play at the Smith Center.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was. They were afraid. Yes. That's what it was, right? And I remember I had to make the executive decision. I have to go to the studio one way or the other. So let's go. Like they'll even put you up in a hotel by the studio for that kind of stuff. And TV in the same boat too. Like you know how print people are, where I take this back. Let me rephrase.
Go ahead.
On election night, we're gonna have another election coming up in November. Before you go, whoa, what are we doing here? Hear me out. Every election year, it's like the news people are proud of themselves for staying there all night to meet a deadline. And they have pizza parties behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And all the sports people go, oh, that's cute. You guys are riding up to deadline and you're giving yourself a pizza party. That's every night in the sports world, right? So I that's kind of how I am a little bit with the weather situation is that I think you were a little worried about leaving Garner. And I was like, man, I'm getting to the studio. Let's go.
You're confused. We don't have a boss. So
it's true.
No, print people regularly, like they live. Chuck, the late great Chuck Liddy lived for a hurricane.
Oh, I bet.
Robert Willett, Ethan Hyman, Josh Schaefer now, Travis Long. These are all guys like,
give me the event.
They have like Ethan Hyman has every piece of rain gear you could possibly have. The gas can, the water, the tang,
dude,
to your point, so
2016, yeah. Carter Finley, the Notre Dame game, right?
Yeah.
That had the tropical storm that was coming through or remnants of a hurricane. I remember seeing Ethan hype to shoot in that.
No. Print people live for it.
Okay.
This is more of that. You had a boss that said you have to be there.
You got to be here.
Same with me at the paper. No, you have a boss that says you have to work in the snow and do the agate and stay at the Circle Holiday Inn in 1998 or whatever year that was.
Right.
No, man. No, this is simply, we don't have a boss that we have to answer to. So if we can audible and say, what is smarter? Driving in 7 inches of rain or potentially either doing the show earlier or doing it from your home.
Yeah.
That's all that is, man. It ain't about,
who else?
Don't start with I drove backwards and walked sideways and didn't wear any shoes.
You know who also doesn't have a boss? Sam Walker. our friend out in the Outer Banks.
It's phenomenal.
And here's Sam, because look, man, go follow Sam Walker, OBX. They're independent these days. They do a great job. And I can't, let me see if I'm going to mute this because I already chanced it with the YouTube yesterday, and somehow we did not get flagged with my dude playing loudly in the background.
You think that was the hot mic just picking up everything, or
that guy was just loud?
They were good. Loud. I mean, they were good.
So Sam posted on TikTok and on Twitter and everywhere else, like it had to be done. And he has the little Debbie Christmas tree cookie inflatable.
That is phenomenal.
With the storm flag out the Outer Banks. He's ready to go. See, Sam, no days off. This is his big weather event. Let's go. He's going to be all over the place in the Outer Banks while this thing's coming through.
When Jackson and I got back to Raleigh last night, I noticed that the Weather Channel was right outside the studio.
Oh, geez.
On Fayetteville Street. I'm like, that is never a good sign, sir. There's a live shot here. There's a live shot from Fayetteville Street, and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, wait a second, I recognize that scaffolding on the corner of the old CBS store. Wait a second, there's our entry.
One of the more embarrassing stories. It was Chris Clark's getting all the shout outs this week.
So we need to get Chris on, man.
It was Chris Clark.
Next Wednesday, do a reunion show, your annual summer reunion show.
Oh, you're not going to be here next Wednesday?
I got to go to Greenville. I got to move James back in.
I'll see what's
snuck up on me.
I'll get him and Russ in here. We'll make the thing happen.
Yeah. That'd be amazing.
So Chris Clark's bachelor party was in Charleston.
Okay.
And
you went to Huskies or Husks or Shucks.
My brother texted me. He says, "Don't sleep on that burger." I'm like, I know, dude. That's the point that I was trying to make. So we're in South Carolina for his bachelor party. That was the bachelor party where somehow we ended up at the Southern Belle and woke up in the Days Inn across from Meeting Street.
Is that the ballet? Southern Belle.
Yeah, it was a ballet.
Okay.
Where you had they would give you a styrofoam cooler it was a BYOB.
Okay.
That's how you got certain things in that ballet versus the other.
Got you.
So anyway, I just remember waking up the next day with a bunch of people passed out and the door to the hotel room open. And it's
Days Inn.
And if you know that Days Inn, it's like an old school motel where the door just goes out to a balcony.
Spelling class with a K, a Days Inn.
Yes. Yeah, that's it was an event. Anyway, earlier that night, we were already pretty liquored up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the name of the bar was the Blind Tiger.
Okay.
And we see Jim Cantori.
Oh no.
At the Blind Tiger. And I forgot who it was, but they were drunk and they yelled to Jim Cantori, "Holy shit, Jim Cantori is here. We are going to die." And Jim, I'm sure he hears all this stuff all the time. And Jim's like, no, there's no weather event coming. I'm just here for restaurant week and it's a really great time. And of course, we're all drunk. Like, let's get a picture. So somewhere floating around is a picture of me, Chris Clark, and his guys for his fraternity, just hammered, super hype about meeting Jim Cantori and not having a weather event come our way. So yeah, man. And look, I'm just glad all the equipment works, because yesterday while we were at Margaritaville,
yeah, mine was not working this morning. I hit some sort of do not disturb button, focus button or something. Gotcha. I was scrambling this morning.
Yeah, it opened up yesterday while we were at Margaritaville. And you mentioned that guy playing. Thankfully, he was not playing any sort of Jimmy Buffett. But when he was not playing, when that band wasn't playing, they were starting to play the Jimmy Buffett at the Margaritaville at Wyndham. And it did get me to think of two instances in which I kind of there's like this brain disease of Jimmy Buffett. So we'll start with the more recent one and go back to another one from 2005. So as listeners know, I was in Florida back in June, and part of that trip was knocking off some national parks. And we went to Dry Tortugas, which is not easy to get to. You can take a seaplane, but the seaplane is not in our price range. Podcast is making money, not that much money. So we took the Yankee Freedom. It's a ferry that'll take you 2.5 hours from Key West to Dry Tortugas. What? What?
Yankee what?
It's called the Yankee Freedom. That was the name of the boat. Hey, look, it's run by a really great group for the National Park Service. Stick a bunch of people on there. They give you breakfast. Off you go. So on the way down,
not to be confused with the Blind Yankee.
No, the Blind Tiger Yankee. So on our way down, they've got Radio Margaritaville on
from Yankee
from Sirius XM. You got to pay extra for that. The Yankee steamer.
The Cleveland
So we're headed down there, and they're blasting Jimmy Buffett.
The name of the boat?
I don't know. Stupid things that I remember. I can't remember a year something happened, but then I can remember the name of a boat. So we're driving. We're going down there playing Jimmy Buffett the entire time from Margaritaville.
What song? Or all different songs?
It was all different songs. Okay. I heard one of the worst versions of one of my favorite songs done by Jimmy Buffett. I forgot exactly. Now it'll come to me later.
It's a Brown Eyed Girl. He does a terrible version of Brown Eyed Girl.
It was awful. And actually, it was probably a Tears for Fears song that he did. And
oh,
it was
no.
Awful.
Oh, no.
Awful.
Oh, no.
Regardless. So I asked the guy.
You're going to get a lot of people sending you
Jimmy Buffett covers.
You're screwed.
That was a mistake on my end.
You walked into that.
I walked into that. So I asked the guy who was working the deck. I said, he's like, are you guys, do you have to listen to Jimmy Buffett all the time?
The captain of the Yankee Freedom.
Not the cat. He wasn't the captain. He was like swabbing the poop deck. I don't know. And he said to me, he's like, well, we just got back into playing Jimmy Buffett. And we just got the freedom to change it up every so often. So while we're going to listen to Jimmy Buffett on the way down, we probably will not listen to Jimmy Buffett on the way back up. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then he just opened up. He's like, yeah, man, look, when Jimmy Buffett passed away, Key West had a little bit of a resurgence in parrot heads and the whole vibe and the whole remembrance of Jimmy Buffett. And the guy who runs the boat was like, we got to give the people what they want. It's Jimmy Buffett 24/7. Now think about this. You're running 7 days a week, every day, unless it's hurricane conditions on that boat. It's pretty much the same crew every time. And I just was like, oh man, you really had to listen to Jimmy Buffett every day. 2 hours and 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back. He goes, yes. And it got to the point where the crew almost mutinied over Jimmy Buffett.
Mutiny on the sea, on the Yankee.
On the Yankee Freedom over Jimmy Buffett. Not poor working conditions. It was because they could not stand listening to Jimmy Buffett.
As a poor working condition.
He's like, yeah, man, we went up to him and we got into an argument. And like, it was like a really heated discussion as to whether or not we should still be playing Jimmy Buffett. And we had to express to the operator, you don't understand. It is driving us insane listening to Fins to the every day.
I was gonna say I do like Come Monday.
Sure, that is a great song. Favorite. That is a great song. So this got me to relay him a story from 2005. It was my buddy John down in Florida was getting married, and part of his bachelor parties we went to the Disney water park Typhoon Lagoon. Back in the day, if you knew the right person, follow me here, Joe. Follow me here. Back in the day, if you knew the right person, you could do an all-cash transaction when the park closed, and they would give you monstrous waves in the wave pool that you could surf. So it was like me and like 10 other dudes that I grew up with in South Florida, all there for John's bachelor party. I tried. I suck at surfing. So I just took pictures because, you know, hey, that's what part of the groomsman's doing, right? So at the end of this thing, and we're clearing out, I had time to kill, and me and my buddy John and my buddy Mike all said, like, let's go to Orlando. Let's go to Universal Orlando. And we ended up having drinks at Margaritaville because it was like the only thing that was open and XYZ. So what are they doing at Margaritaville? They're playing Jimmy Buffett concerts all day. And of course, I'm 26. I'm just a total dick. And the server comes up and I was like, so you must know all these by heart, right? Guy looks straight at me, dead eye, just no emotion. And he goes, I haven't thought about Jimmy Buffett until you mentioned it. I felt like such an asshole. So needless to say, I gave that man a very good tip for ruining his day and highlighting the fact that Jimmy Buffett was there. So those are two instances in which people have been driven nuts by Jimmy Buffett. Just wanted to put that out there.
The Yankee Freedom.
The Yankee Freedom. You want to start the show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's do housekeeping before we actually start the show.
Housekeeping.
Brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online. ENOVANA.com. Green Cleaning Solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
So we got the podcast festival coming up. Podcast festival is August 24th. Time is running out to get your tickets, and it is brought to you by Breeze Through. Check them out, breezethrough.com. You can save money on gas when you download that app. We talk about football season being right around the corner, right? PNC Arena location, Carter Finley location. They got the beer cave. They got the crowlers.
All your tailgate needs.
All your tailgate needs are there. You can also check out the food truck. Maybe we talk about this all the time. Not everybody can tailgate. You know what they have at Breeze Through? The opportunity for you to park in their little parking lot, and they have a food truck. So you can tailgate there. What better situation did you need?
Sounds like a deal to me. So you're saying, though, we had someone ask if there would be, what kind of drinks and food there would be for the podcast festival?
Yeah, we had a question from, I believe this is from Wolfpack Lamb on Twitter for the Sports Podfest. I assume there will be alcohol available for purchase, but there will also be food available between sets. The answers are yes and yes. It's Hayes Permar, folks. He runs the Rialto. Do you think Hayes is not going to have alcohol at the Rialto? He will.
He's got good beer.
He does have good beer. So that'll be available. I think you have wine too, if you're not interested in beer.
Liquor.
They've got seltzers as well. And I believe, I have to double check on this one, but I believe the Oak City food truck will be there.
Okay.
I believe it will be there.
I know Jared and the Roosters have us covered as well.
Yeah. So go
and it's August, so the coffee cookie will be in play.
Ooh, I like
it. Or maybe I'll get a cake for us.
Long story short, get your tickets today. Go to therialto.com. And of course, we thank Breeze Through for that. We also thank Home Field for being involved with the Sports Podcast Festival. You will have access to hats, obviously, but you will also have access to an exclusive Home Field hoodie for the Sports Podcast Festival. We like to call ourselves the champagne of podcasts. The champagne of hoodies are Home Field hoodies.
Yes.
The most comfortable hoodies you're going to find. Use the promo code OG24 when you go to Home Field Apparel, and use that promo code OG24 to save some money on your next order at Home Field. We got the Wolfpack one, the Carolina one, the Duke one, Wake Forest, App State, the Pirates. They got all your favorite teams covered.
I own 2 of those.
You got the Wake Forest one and the Carolina one, right?
ECU.
Oh, that's right. You get the Pirates one.
That App State with Yosef on the helmet?
I might be buying that one.
Whoa. That is nice.
I might be buying that one.
Yeah, use the promo code OG24. Our friends at Home Field, they're back for the 24-25 football and basketball seasons. Appreciate them. They have a great website. They have a great app as well. Home Field Apparel. Again, use that promo code OG24. Save on that first order.
I'm glad you brought up the app because it gives you access to other goodies with the app. So go download that today.
One thing we desperately need to do this year, when the bomber jackets come back out, we're going to scoop a couple for our purposes.
I think the State Bomber jacket's back online.
Okay.
So go check that out.
I'll take a peek at it.
Big thanks to bugsbite.com. That's Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. With the money that you save bundling on that package, outside for the mosquitoes, inside. I mean, with all this rain, the ants are going to be active. You can use that money to buy Home Field stuff and other things from our corporate champions. But most importantly, if you're looking for somebody to take care of your home, Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority are there for you. So again, check them out, bugsbite.com. Also, big thanks to Happy and Hale. A little bit of housekeeping here as we will be on location next week.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
So with Happy and Hale, you can download the app. You can get some clean eating. You can get those smoothies. The salads are hearty salads. These are robust salads. They're going to leave you full and satisfied. And we'll see you next week at the Happy and Hale off of Six Forks Road, right, Joe?
Yeah, Six Forks Station. We will be there next week. It's 8711 Six Forks Road. Come hit us up, man. They have really great food there. This is another one of those places where once you go once, like sometimes you guys question us. I get that. You can be a little bit skeptical.
That's fine.
Right?
That's fine.
But once you go once, you're like, now hold on a second. These guys are not lying. All of the different bowls are really good. The smoothies are also very good. And it's one of those things, like, especially after you go on vacation and you're like, man, I could really just maybe give myself a good choice here, make myself feel better about my life. Happy and Hale's going to do that for you. Okay. And you'll still have room for the 2 roosters after.
That's fair. That's fair. There's just a lot of small NFL news items that are on the buffet plate today. The Panthers are in action tonight. I was lurking on Reddit like I typically do, and I enjoyed this from the Panthers subreddit. It's that time of year again. The image read, "Babe, it's time to watch the Carolina Panthers play football again." And it's the shriveled up meme man by saying, "Yes, honey. Are you ready for another underwhelming year of Panthers football, Joe?"
This is the one. Fool me twice, but not this year. They're in.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be a competitive team this year. I do. I can see a little bit of a bounce this year.
I'm with you on that because I think they have better coaching this year.
I think they have better players too. I mean, assuming they can get some of these two guys healthy, of course.
Totally with you on that. Health is a key feature here. And I'm being somewhat over the top with the misery that is Carolina Panthers football. And I saw this debate I saw this debate on another subreddit post of the Panthers. And we see this all the time locally when we talk about colleges, where it's like, oh, we need people to be a little bit more optimistic about the Panthers. And the pushback was, well, what exactly have the Panthers done to make you optimistic right now? I mean, it's a kind of a beaten down fan base. It sucks that it's gotten that way. But I get back to what I said yesterday with Dave Canales and what I've enjoyed so far about Dave Canales. He's incredibly positive. He seems to show his work, which is good. I'm optimistic this will continue throughout the season, even if they get off to a slow start. They're going to stick with what they know, not the BS that Frank Reich was, not the BS that Matt Rule was. I feel like Canales, of the two coaches, seems like he actually has his shit together. Now it's a matter of whether or not David Tepper will allow these things to unfold in an organic way rather than being impatient. If that's where you're going to be pessimistic, it usually comes from the form of, will Dave Tepper actually follow through on saying he's going to let things go by? Ian Rappaport was with the NFL Network. They were at Panthers camp this week leading up to their first preseason game. And Rappaport pretty much laid out what the expectations are for Bryce Young in year two.
So you're in Carolina. He's heading into his second season. Didn't go great last year with the Panthers jersey on for him. So how does he fix things? Where can Dave Canales get him in his second season?
With this new coaching staff with Dave Canales and Brad Idzik, his good friend and offensive coordinator, obviously so much of the focus is making sure that Bryce Young lives up to the immense promise that he had. And the reason, shows everyone the reason that they drafted him. And, you can go back and look at the trade and the drafting of Bryce Young. I think everyone sort of forgets it was essentially unanimous around the league that Bryce Young was going to be the number one quarterback. This is a guy who is really smart, as we know, who is very talented, and they believe can be the number one quarterback, the number one overall pick that he was. A couple of the areas of focus for Bryce Young, I would say, first of all, making sure that he is comfortable. He is a pretty relaxed dude. He's pretty cerebral. He has been speaking up in meetings more. He's been, I would say, not leading the 7-on-7 meetings, but, right there with his offensive coordinator, Brad Idzik, to tell people, like, these are the plays I like. These are the plays I don't like. This is what works for me. This is what I'm seeing. Taking more ownership of the plays and the scheme, and I think that for sure is important. The offensive line is going to be better. Run game is going to be better. Those things are going to help him. But it's also some simple things, Jamie, like this year when he gets up to the line in training camp, he knows what he's doing. And the rest of the offense does too. It's not like last year when they go to the line, they'd kind of set up and they'd be like, all right, hold on, get back in the huddle, fix this. There's not as much of that. He's going to get the ball out of his hands quick. He's going to make smart reads, all the things we know. He's going to be under center probably a little more. You are going to see a new and improved Bryce Young to kind of show people what he really should have been last year and what they think he'll be going forward.
So there you go. There's Ian Rappaport from Panthers camp kind of laying it out. What are you smirking about?
I always laugh when there are certain people who are like, man, you don't know anything about football. And they're like,
mostly Carolina fans.
No.
I'm kidding.
In this specific instance, it's like, well, you played in high school, your dad was coach, whatever, but like, you don't know. Sure enough, I don't know vernacular. Sure. No. The first person to tell you that, like Eli Drinkwitz was one I used to have this conversation with a lot.
Nice.
And he would try to tell me, you chart these plays, but you don't really know anything about football. Last year, we can go back and find the tape if you really want to. Well, a one preseason game under Frank Reich, I said Bryce Young is much better under center.
I remember.
Than he is in the shotgun because he's not really a threat on the read option. So if you're just going to put him in the shotgun and make him throw the ball all over the yard, not even Tom Brady can do that.
No.
Okay? Not even the best quarterback in the NFL can do that. You can't set him up for failure that way. what we've seen from the 49ers, from the Rams, from Dave Canales with Baker Mayfield last year in Tampa, Seattle when he was with Geno Smith, when you put a guy under center and you have the threat of running the play action and running the football, you keep the defense on their toes. This is football 101. So I'm not some genius coming up with this, but I literally said on this show after one preseason half last year, the Panthers would be better off putting him under center and putting him in a position where they're at least the defense has to guess. So here's Canales. And of course, whatever Ian is saying is coming straight from Canales.
Of course it is.
Which is fine. This is what Canales should do.
Yeah.
But what does he say? He's going to be under center more. We're going to be more effective. We're going to put him in situations like a Shanahan would, like a McVay would, to keep you guessing and to give him the best chance to be successful.
I'll say this. The other thing to keep an eye on, or the thing that I'm confident about, and you heard Ian sort of reference it there, but he didn't go deeper because, again, it's a TV hit. Bryce Young was never comfortable because Bryce Young was being micromanaged last year. Go back to a Jonathan Jones CBS Sports story about too many cooks in the kitchen, too much.
Yeah.
People misinterpreted what Jonathan was reporting when he said that they were throwing too much information at him as though he could not process all this. No, it wasn't about information. It was about too many voices with too many opinions coming at him. And it was basically paralysis by analysis for Bryce Young. And never forget that Frank Reich's, one of the big mistakes that Frank Reich made is he would not give up the play calling. And then when they did give up the play calling, he was never comfortable with it and they took it back. So to me, I think with Canales and how they streamline things, that will ultimately benefit Bryce Young, and we'll get a better sense of what he actually is this year compared to last year. The worry was always, was last year so terrible for Bryce Young that it mentally broke him? And I think Canales and his positivity has helped kind of shape him back towards it. I was talking to Darren Gant and Julian Council when we were up in Charlotte for ACC kickoff when I had dinner with them. And I was asking him, like, are things visibly different? And Darren, who's there all the time, said, yes. Yeah, like you're actually getting to see a little bit more personality from Bryce Young that just really wasn't allowed to flourish last year because everything behind the building was just kind of a mess. And I think that's clearly a change in what we've seen with Canales and what leads people to be actually optimistic about the Panthers.
I mean, DraftKings has the Panthers win total at 4.5. I really do believe they're going to win 6, 7, maybe even 8 games this year. Only because, you, again, a lot of it does depend on health. And we got to go back and look at last year and realize 40% of their offensive line was gone by week 2.
Yeah, man.
Like that, there's just, I don't care who you are. You're going to have a lot of problems with that, especially when you don't have overwhelming skill at the receiver positions and the running back positions.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
We've got so much to get to. Nick Sirianni, Eagles head coach, is officially the coach on the hottest seat in the NFL. ESPN, quick context, ESPN did a deep dive into what went wrong with the Eagles last year. I'll just borrow a phrase from Bomani Jones, who I was listening to the podcast yesterday. He was with me at Kimes, and he said, once a team quits on you, it's really, really hard for a team to unquit on you.
Yeah.
And when you start getting interesting little tidbits of this story, like Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, talking to defensive coordinator Wink Martindale about, like, hey, man, why'd you kick our ass? Like, what was going on here? That shows you how Jalen Hurts doesn't really trust anything in the coaching staff to get him through. And I'll also give a lot of credit to Mike Kay, who's the beat reporter for the Charlotte Observer, who covers the Panthers. When the Panthers were going through their coaching search that ultimately landed on Frank Reich, the guy that he was really, really high on at the time was Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles when they actually were on that run. And you've seen a brain drain in Philadelphia, and you saw that catch up, and Nick Sirianni was left with no answers, and he didn't really handle himself all that great. So if they get off to another slow start and put all this money into Jalen Hurts as the QB, Sirianni is going to get the hell out of the paint real quick with all this stuff going around.
It's also Philly. Yeah, like these are whatever the opposite of patience is in different cities and different places. Philly does not solve. Like, I'm still stunned that Doug Peterson didn't last another year or two in Philly because he won a Super Bowl for the first time in your franchise's history.
Well,
and you're just like, yeah, cool, we can do that again. You know?
Well, I think some of that had
we don't need him. It wasn't him.
Some of that had to do with a difference in opinion on who they wanted the quarterback to be.
Sure.
I mean, they wanted Jalen Hurts to be the quarterback, and they had to move on from the Carson Wentz, Nick Foles dynamic. Shout out to the big Nick energy. He's retired. Maybe that now he's retired, Philly fans will go, make him the head coach. We won the last time he was the guy. So, yeah, Nick Sirianni easily the coach on the hottest seat in the NFL.
The lightning round.
Almost feel like we might be headed into Steelers Central, Steelers Corner on this podcast from time to time. Brandon Ayuk, who is not happy with the San Francisco 49ers in terms of a contract, a lot of rumors, speculation that he's going to end up with the Steelers. They're going to pull off some sort of trade. We're talking about this right now. I don't have it in front of me. He could have very well been traded for all I know, or you get the opposite end. All this is posturing. It's all leverage. It's all negotiation. And Ayuk gets the money he's looking for out of the 49ers because they feel like he is in part of their window. But as we know, the Kansas City Chiefs have shown you, do not overpay
Sorry, sir.
for these guys. Hey, is Christian McCaffrey still healthy? All right, we're good now. Thank you very much. But what I find interesting in Steelers land is that for the first time in a long time, Russell Wilson finds himself in a healthy competition. Justin Fields, apparently, again, this is just camp stuff. This is when we transition into tell me something good
About your team.
Justin Fields apparently doing really well.
Oh,
What does that mean for Russ? He wants to play in the
Ooh.
preseason. He's not getting that time, Joe.
give me those reps.
He wants the reps, baby. We're not going to go into the season with Justin Fields as the starter, are we?
I have full confidence in Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
I do. I think he can make either one of those quarterbacks work. Especially now that he doesn't have Matt Canada calling his plays. But I don't know why I have full confidence in
Just
Mike
had to
Tomlin.
get that in there.
When they added Fields, I thought that was unusual. Because I honestly, I remember saying it at the time when the Broncos gave up on Russ and wanted him to, take the buyout and this whole thing. I said, really, there's only one coach at this point who I believe can save Russ, and that is Mike Tomlin.
Mhm.
So he needs to approach this as it is his last chance. So I could understand why he would want the reps and to show people that he could still do things. We've talked about this a lot with Kevin Durant. Not everyone ages like LeBron James. Not everyone's going to age like even a Drew Brees
No.
or a Tom Brady in the NFL or even an Aaron Rodgers, right? Like
Yeah.
not everyone gets the 37, 38, 39 playing at a level that is still helpful and going to help your team win games. The thing about Russ is back in the day, he was a one read guy. Your dad went to the Miami game, right? And
Yeah.
Miami's in man coverage. And if they take off and turn your back on you and your first guy ain't there, go.
Gone.
Leave.
Yep.
And that's Dana Bible. That's making the game as simple as you can. And he still works with Dana. But he gets to Seattle. He's got Marshawn Lynch. He's got that defense. They ask him, hey man, please don't make any mistakes. But also like, hey, run, pick up, extend drives the same way you did at State and Wisconsin. Extend plays, run when you have to, protect yourself. But your true genius is in that improvisation behind the line of scrimmage and extending plays. He lost that. In like the middle of his career, he decided, no, I am a pocket passer and I'm going to do this and I'm only going to do this and I'm not going to run the football anymore. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you. It's the same way that people were with Cam Newton, like as if it was a bad thing that Cam Newton was as good as he was.
That was the hook.
But that was the trade.
Yeah.
You only get so many years. If you want to play that way, you only get so many years.
There's no Super Bowl without the way Cam Newton plays. Straight up.
So I'm interested in seeing how Russ makes the most of this, his last chance. And you're also the Steelers. And quite frankly, as I praise Mike Tomlin, and I think most people will tell you, he's not only the coolest coach in the NFL, but he's the one who has the best rapport with his players and knows how to push their buttons. So, and motivate them. So you look at Fields and now you're talking about a guy in that same mold who is a runner and is a guy who can make plays with his legs. And in today's NFL, that's really important because you're not going to have a great offensive line. Steelers have the defense taken care of.
They do.
The Steelers forever have found a way to make a receiver make chicken salad out of chicken shit with a receiver. And they'll be fine at running back as well. But I'm laughing because I'm like, let's give Mike Tomlin all this credit. He played Ben Roethlisberger like 2 or 3 years past his prime.
Way past his prime.
And then he hired Matt Canada in the first place, which I said from the jump, do not bring him in. And then all of a sudden he's calling their plays. And then you have people at Penguins games chanting for the offensive coordinator to be fired.
You loved that.
Like, what?
You loved that. You loved that.
Well, yes, I love it when I'm right, but I don't have a problem with Matt Canada himself. He's just very predictable.
Very, very predictable.
That's all.
This is fair.
That's all there is.
It's a lightning round. It's the lightning round.
Oh, Brian's country tune.
Country with that twang is underrated.
It really is. All right, let's tell me something good about your quarterback. We were having a laugh at the Drake May, Joe Milton thing.
Yeah,
And-
a lot of people are down on Drake May and
Yeah,
watching practice.
yeah, it's like,
He's not athletic.
He's not athletic.
Wait, what?
He's this and that.
You
And
watched him play before?
as we discussed earlier in the week, you and I had this like, why does this happen with triangle level quarterbacks where NFL people really fall in love with the triangle quarterback that we all watched and we went, what are we missing? Like, what do we not see that the scouts apparently saw? That's right. Mitch Trubisky drove a truck. My bad. I should have known that.
No, it was like a Camry or something.
Something ridiculous, right? Daniel Jones, like, okay, fine, whatever. So with us, it's like, yeah, man, Drake May's the real deal.
Yeah. Has been from his first
But all of
start.
a sudden, it's Joe Milton's time to shine.
Right.
And this is where we found like Spider-Man pointing me moment with SEC country, whereas we go, what the hell are y'all seeing in a particular thing? Macro dosing, one of the Barstool podcasts that I think Arian Foster is the main host of. I guess they got a
Tennessee.
guy. Yeah. So they got another guy who's a Tennessee guy, and he just laid it out. I felt like, we found our brother in Tennessee.
Saying that Joe Milton is playing better than Drake May. They're in phase one.
Were they doing Hail Mary drills?
They said go read the Boston Globe beat reporter. He said you would not be able to tell who was the 3rd overall pick and who was the 6th rounder.
I bet you Joe Milton looks
This
great
guy-
against air.
He has to be like the greatest practice player in the history of sports
Unbelievable.
because he at this point has gotten Michigan, Tennessee, 2 very proud football programs, and the New England Patriots to buy into this. And there is film evidence that
That he can't play.
it falls off.
Yeah.
Now, let me say, Joe is awesome. Great dude. I hope he fucking kills it. I hope he becomes a starting quarterback for the Patriots. But it's just like somehow in practice, he must be the Tom Brady of practice.
So it happens other places. We're not alone. That made me so happy when you
so
sent me
good.
that. I was like, aha!
I just love that it was in Tennessee because remember last year I thought Tennessee was going to be a playoff team.
I know.
And then like after the first game and they struggled to cover against a terrible Virginia team, I'm like,
yeah.
ooh, no.
That's not going to work. That's not going to work.
Gross.
Meanwhile, in Minnesota, we got JJ McCarthy.
Oh,
you ready?
Tell me something
This is
good.
from Strictly Leighton on Instagram.
Things are starting to heat up in Minnesota because JJ McCarthy is once again making plays. And after watching 2 full practices, I can confidently say the Vikings have him going in the right direction.
2 practices?
12,667 likes.
Hell yeah, man.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Hell yeah, man. We're doing it wrong.
First, want to shout out the Vikings defense because they looked excellent. Everyone was flying around and making it very difficult for this first team offense to get going. But when the second team offense came on the field, it was a different story. On just the second play of the live session, JJ McCarthy was able to hit Tristan Jackson on this bomb for the touchdown. And he had another beautiful pass to Jackson during 7-on-7.
The only thing that guy was missing, even though he got 12,000 likes, was piss missile.
What a piss miss.
Elite ball placement.
Whew. God, we are doing it so wrong.
Is there
man.
anything better than August NFL social media?
Like, I'm all happy because, you were spitting hot fire earlier this week and I put that on Instagram and it's taken off and it's like, yeah, cool. We got like 30,000 views.
Yeah, there's no 12,000
There's
likes.
not 12,000 likes.
Get out of here.
We're clearly doing something wrong.
Elite ball placements.
Piss missiles. All right. Jim Harbaugh, Joe Giglio, and me, we all have one thing in common. We will not be coaching a college football team the next 4 years.
Oh,
We all have that in common. Not that I thought Jim Harbaugh was going to be coaching in college in the next 4 years. Anyway, But the NCAA made it official when they handed down punishment on Jim Harbaugh with a 4-year show cause. This is in relation not to the sign stealing stuff, but to the thing that we talked about earlier in the week when all this stuff was playing out with the notice of allegations. The NCAA hates it when you are a pain in the ass. If you are a pain in the ass, they're going to come after you. And that's what they're doing with Jim Harbaugh. The final FU, which of course Jim Harbaugh's taking a sip of whole milk and going, cool. Cool.
It's a nervous bird.
The nervous bird.
I don't trust it.
Let's go out and attack the day. So shout out to the NCAA. Very effective punishment.
It's just silly. What a waste of time and money, resources.
The absolute dumbest. But you know what? Somehow, some way, they exist. Big thanks to the Butcher's Market. Hit them up, thebutchersmarkets.com. Better yet, just go to their locations across the triangle. They got 2 in Wilmington as well. The new location out in Lake Boone is fantastic. A lot of prepared meals, great sandwiches. There's some other sandwich shops in that area. No. Go to the Butcher's Market, Lake Boone. Get that French sandwich. Get the French dip.
Yeah, I was going to say that parking lot has cleared up because the McDonald's on the corner, their construction's finally done.
Yeah.
You can see what's going on at our Butcher's Market location. They're the home base on Lake Boone. Please go check them out. They have all kinds of great stuff. And yeah, their sandwiches and their hot dogs are phenomenal.
Also, big thanks to Two Roosters. You can go to Lake Boone Shopping Center or the Lake Boone Plaza area. On the other side of Lake Boone is where the Two Roosters is. Great spot. There's something for everybody in that spot. You can bring the kids. They can have their ice cream. There's a bottle shop next door, but you can enjoy some beer if you want to. Same with the Greystone Shopping Center as well, because you can go hit up the bottle rev that's there. So get your ice cream. It's all good stuff with Two Roosters.
Probably should point out that OG Media bought Ethan a gift from the Two Roosters, a winter hat.
Oh.
And anytime you buy clothing from Two Roosters, it smells like a waffle cone.
It's insane. It's so funny.
It's unbelievable.
I love it. So check it out, tworoosters.com. Big thanks to Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. I mentioned this yesterday. When we were driving out of Sedgefield, there was an incredible looking, like modern home, just absolutely off the charts that was looking at one of the fairways. I mean, I'm not saying that I could afford it, but the best chance to get it, Hometown Realty.
With our friends. Yeah, I want to like hit up Swaff and be like, hey, man, you don't want to break news on the OG, but maybe you could hook us up with something at Sedgefield. Like that'd be nice.
I feel like we did some good work that maybe in the 3rd year of us going to Sedgefield for the Wyndham, we'll finally get John Swafford to sit down with us.
Well, in the most positive way possible, we spent some quality time with John Swafford's wife, Nora, yesterday.
Yes. She was hanging out in the Margaritaville with her friends, and we chatted with her.
She was like profusely apologizing for John not being there, and we were like, "It's okay,
it's okay,
totally okay." But you know, we at the end though, we were like, "Okay, come on," and say, "John hates you too, Florida State. The feeling is mutual." And she was like, "No, not tweeting that.
Absolutely not."
I was like, "Oh, come on, no, who will see?"
Yeah. My one regret is I said, "Hey, can we take a selfie and you can send it to John?" Be like, "Hey, missed you." But no. The Swaffords are incredible people. Sorry we missed out on John Swafford. Maybe next year we'll finally get a chance to talk to John. Check him out, myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, he is Chip Patterson, moderator, Cover 3 podcast. What's going on, man?
I am, I'm a little bummed out about little Debbie, little Debbie, throwing a wrinkle in our Thursday, but I'm so happy to spend some time with y'all.
I am bummed out too, because I actually have something for you, and I was going to give it to you today when you were in studio, because as you do Cover 3, much like us, you've got a little backdrop. If you're watching on YouTube, he's got an old cave poster from Chapel Hill. You got your basketball thing. I found this at nice price, and I thought the person who needed this is one Chip Patterson. It is a full VHS copy of Michael Jordan's Come Fly With Me.
Oh.
It actually had... So there you go.
Let's go. Thank you.
You know what I found funny about this is it's not rated mono compatible. Just so if you've got a mono VHS, a mono system, Chip,
right.
it'll work. It'll work for you.
Do you? I know that you do. Giglio, do you still have a VHS player somewhere?
I think there might be one up in. We have like a storage thing in the garage, like above the door. I think there might be one up there.
Yeah, I still have my Panasonic VHS.
I've still got I've still got access to a VHS DVD combo player. That's just basically meant to to keep, because I used to, as a kid, record sporting events. So I've just got this library of useless events that you can now find on YouTube. But when it was down to the Niners and the Chargers and the Super Bowl, I couldn't stay up for it, but I was dialed and excited, and so I got really good at doing the set timer record on the VHS. And that was the way that I consumed a lot of late night sports at an early age.
That you are a true sicko. I actually made that comment. I was looking at rare footage from college, spectacular highlights, 40 minutes of electrifying video cassette. So yeah, next time I see you, man, I'll make sure you get that.
Thank you.
I said you're a true sicko because we were listening to the part 2 of the ACC win totals of the Cover 3 podcast. And you, I guess, were making reference to KC over at NC State. And the way you set it up was I was watching the ACC Network's coverage of when they were at NC State. And Giglio,
their campus tour.
Giglio can confirm this. I look over at Joe and I said, yeah, that tracks for Chip. He is a true sicko that would actually watch those campus visits. This is not a knock to our friends over at the ACC Network. They do an incredible job. But it's just one of those things that I just was not thinking about, but Chip is thinking about.
Well, and also that KC is the type of, this is not new to him, right? He has the type of personality where he steps to a microphone and he's not going to be afraid of it. He's not going to tone his answers down. He has not been like media trained into being a robot. And so whenever I find those players, when they open their mouth and when they want to talk, I'm interested, because even if they're just gassing up their boys, then they're at least giving some insight into the level of confidence that they have when they look around a room, because players aren't stupid. I mean, there's the guy who left Pitt, and on his way out the door, he was like, yeah, I would like to go to a team that's competitive. you take note when a player, and Giglio, he left after spring practice.
Yeah.
The man went through all of spring practice and was like, I'm looking around this locker room and this ain't it. And like, much love to EJ Borghetti, my guy, but I had to downgrade. I had to like get into the Chipalytics and step Pitt down just a little bit, because if their best players are leaving, you're not only docking them for their best players leaving, but when their best players are like, yeah, I need to be with my peers, and they're not here. Well, that says something about the talent level in the room.
We did enjoy your win totals, and go check that out. Cover 3 podcast. The best part though was when Tom was like, Carolina was bad last year with a first round quarterback. Why do you think they're going to be better this year?
Yeah. Why do we think that? Why do we think that?
And he's such a Drake May guy. I mean, like he's a tape cruncher, and he was all about Drake May and losing his mind over some of the throws. And you look at the scores of the Georgia Tech and the Virginia game. I mean, it's pretty obvious where things needed to get better.
You laid it out though, and it's something that Mac Brown talked about, and we'll see if it works. Is that they're not good in November. I mean, that's what all the hot starts, but they would lose steam, and the defense would not back it up once November came around. I mean, I get where Mac is coming from, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the answer. As we talked about earlier with Dave Canales, the one thing you can say with Jeff Collins, and I've seen the quotes that have come through. I know Adam Smith did a summer school with Bud on the Cover 3, and everything keeps coming out with Jeff Collins on the defensive side of the ball, that the attitude has changed, that it's much more modern beyond where Gene Chizik was. So I guess we theoretically will get the true answer about what kind of talent North Carolina really does have on the defensive side of the ball, because we've been told they've got good talent on the defense. I mean, clearly the recruiting rankings will tell you that. I'm sure Bud's blue chip ratio will tell you that. We just haven't seen it come to fruition consistently at North Carolina. And I feel like I'm taking crazy pills talking about, oh no, this is the year that Carolina's defense will be good.
Well, we're not even asking for good.
No.
We're asking for not bottom 20 in the country of 134 FBS teams. I mean, you're asking for middle of the road. The 2015 team that ran off 11 wins in a row and ended up making it to the ACC championship game. Marquise, by the way, Marquise is sad that apparently that's getting memory hold. We need to actually breathe more life into the 2015 North Carolina Tar Heels team because they caught a heater, and that defense was not awesome, but that defense was good enough to complement what Marquise and the rest of that offense was able to do. And so that's what you're asking is that, for an offense that I do think, like, J.J. Jones is a player. I think Nate McCullum is a really, really good player. I don't think that Max Johnson is a real difference maker moving the ball, but Bryson Nesbitt is there. I mean, there's more to this North Carolina offense than just running the ball with the Marion Hampton and Darwin Barlow. About that.
And this is something that maybe I'm reading too much into it from Mac Brown from ACC Kickoff. But I feel like it's not Max Johnson's job. It's either going to be Connor Harrell, who I know, Giglio, you liked from what you saw in the bowl game, or there's a reason why Jacoby Criswell came back. And look, I was talking to somebody over at North Carolina, and they simply said, "Oh, well, he kind of missed his boys. He liked being like all that kind of stuff." And I'm thinking to myself, that's too simple, man. You don't come to a school to think that you're not going to compete for the job. And I'm sure, and I've heard it, that if Jacoby was there for the spring, that he'd probably be in a much better position to potentially win the job. So I don't think Max Johnson's going to play. I honestly think it's going to be a situation where it'll be Connor Harrell to start, and then they'll see what Jacoby Criswell has in game time. And Max was something maybe they thought was going to be working out. But if you're missing Drake May and you need dynamic offense, I don't know where a game operator is going to be your answer. I just don't.
I think that you need Max Johnson for August 29th.
Okay.
When you go on the road to play Minnesota, who I don't expect to be awesome, but is not like a total walkover, that you want to make sure that you've got somebody in there who's going to be able to just get you lined up and just execute the offense without having a bunch of procedural penalties and stuff that's going to hurt you in a way that's going to lead to the season starting with a loss. I think North Carolina can win that game. I think Max Johnson starts that game for that reason. You know what else Max Johnson has not done in either of the last two seasons is play 12 games. Max Johnson is like, he gets ragdolled. He does that thing where like he'll get out there in the pocket, he'll try to go make a play, and he gets hit hard. Played 8 games last season, 4 games the season before that. So, are you going to need Connor Harrell? Are you going to need Jacoby Criswell? Probably. If history of the last 2 years is to say anything, there might be some injuries coming along the way for Johnson. He might have trouble staying healthy. So I just think that the most important thing that Johnson offers, and a guy who, by the way, committed before the transfer portal had even opened, because he got in early as a grad, as he's like a grad transfer. Grad transfers can jump in the portal whenever. He didn't need the portal window. And so I think that they got him early, not to say we're done taking quarterbacks, Max is our guy, but just knowing that you've got a steady hand who's been in hostile environments. And like, I don't know if anybody is calling Minnesota a hostile environment with their national championships from before World War II up on the stadium in TCF.
I noticed that on NCAA 25 on the ring there, and I was like, oh, guys.
Oh, yeah, you've got 3 national titles, Minnesota. That's interesting. But, I mean, they're
the first AP title.
Hey, look,
36.
North Carolina basketball looks at that and goes, salute.
Salute to the Helms Foundation.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Max Johnson does. And look, there is a long sort of history going back to Texas where Mac Brown would play a couple quarterbacks. Even his first time at North Carolina, I play a couple quarterbacks, and I think that we're in for that kind of year for the Tar Heels.
Which bone would you like for me to pick with you right now? I agree with you, by the way. You had Carolina over, you had State over. Again, go check out the Cover 3 podcast wherever you find your podcasts. But
smash the subscribe button.
Which bone would you like
in the Cover 3 tailgate
with you right now?
Well, I don't get a choice. I mean, obviously, one of the bones shall be picked. So
okay. I love Josh Gitson. He's my friend. He's on the Golf Gambling Podcast with me. Josh gets a Wolfpack shout out.
Cool. We got a shout out the other day about the Devil's deck.
That was cool.
He texted me the morning of the podcast at 6 a.m.
I was happy that you gave Josh a shout out. But you start talking about my smooth Mustangs and nothing.
Wait, hold on. I had to fight the fight for us.
I know.
Okay? That is the thing, is I was so ready for battle with Tom and Bud on SMU. because they fundamentally believe that this is going to be a
Come
fart
on.
in the wind 6-6 type season
Come
for the
on,
Mustangs.
because they lost the bowl game. I love it.
To
You're
be
like,
seen.
and I'm on soon without their quarterback, by the way.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
What are we
something
doing?
resembling football. I think but
Come on.
it is fair to, and this is one thing that Bud will do is he's always like, all right, so let's look at the quarterbacks that you played. And
Sure.
let's look at, the teams what happened when SMU played Oklahoma. They got outclassed. So what leads you to believe that they're going to be able to come in and have that kind of success? I just don't think there's a lot of Oklahomas in the ACC.
Yeah.
And I think that the raw talent level, like in terms of a basic power rating, I think SMU is right there in the same conversation as a Louisville and as an NC State and as a Virginia Tech. And that is like a tier that you draw a line, and it's like everybody up from that, and SMU belongs. And I think that I am in opposition to my co-hosts on that one.
Bud is right about a lot of things in how he evaluates things. Fair. But he does have one kryptonite. Dude cannot stand Miami. And SMU has all kinds of Miami transfers. So when you look at SMU's roster, I just wanted you to be like, you're telling me you want me to bet against a team that has a Rooster and a Moochie?
But
all right, there's certain rules in this world. You don't bet against Rooster or Moochie. All right.
As I mentioned on the show, if my prediction doesn't hit, it's because some of their transfer portal additions on the defensive side of the ball end up proving to be, this is why you weren't starters at your former place.
Yeah.
There are a lot of programs that are really, really good at taking a guy out of the portal and helping him, helping him like realize what his high school projection was. And I think SMU can be that, but they've got to get better defensively. They don't play a lot of the best offenses in the ACC by the way I see it, but if they're going to win those games against the very best teams on their schedule, then they're going to need to be able to go and get some stops.
I fully expect them to lose to Florida State in their first ACC game. I also fully expect them to cook a couple of teams late in the season because you're going to go down there. It's going to be a little bit sleepy. It'll probably be a little bit windy. You're on that track, that turf at Gerald R4 Stadium, and they're going to be fast as shit. And they're just going to put up 50 on you, and you're going to be like, why did we invite these guys? What were we doing?
Why? Now it makes
Pat
sense.
Narduzzi's going to get down there and be like, what?
So,
What is this nonsense?
So this is why they didn't take any money. They fooled us.
Give me
It's like or your guy Bill O'Brien. Like Bill O'Brien's going to get down there and it's going to be like, oh no.
After they beat him in the bowl game, we got this one.
He won't have that infectious laugh that we saw at ACC kickoff. Well, speaking of sleepy, Joe and I were talking about this after yesterday's show. We had talked to App State football coach Sean Clark, and I know as Joe mentioned that App State has the most interesting schedule in the state of North Carolina.
Oh, agree.
Both NC State and North Carolina have schedules that are conducive to a lot of winning, to hit those overs. Totally get it. App State's in an interesting position where they might mess around and find themselves in the college football playoff hunt with the expanded playoff and the way the Group of Five thing works out. But then we realize that Clemson game, because it's coming off the Georgia game. That's good. That's a good. Like, all right,
good.
bonus. You're coming off Georgia. Clemson could get smushed by Georgia, and they're feeling a little down on themselves when they come back to Death Valley. But then we looked at the game. Actually, Jackson was the one that pointed it out. He goes, yeah, that's an 8:00 game. We're like, forget it. We're not getting that.
All of our optimism.
Like, we're not getting that App State magic.
But the Liberty game is the one that could be like legitimately for a college football playoff spot.
It could, yeah.
Like so Liberty is probably going to go, I believe that Conference USA midweek action on CBS Sports Network. I mean, what gets the juices flowing like a Tuesday and a Wednesday in October? On the mothership, gets it going. But I think Liberty is going to work the rest of that conference, and they might I don't think Liberty is going to necessarily be 12-0 again because they could lose to App State. But if App State has a win over that Liberty team that has a double-digit win total, then they are going to have a valuable piece for the College Football Playoff Selection Committee that if they don't beat Clemson, you've still got that in the non-con that could give you a little bit of wiggle room because if it's a Liberty team that has 1 loss and an App team that has 2 losses, but App played a tougher schedule in the Sun Belt and also has a head-to-head result against Liberty, that's going to give them a really good chance to be able to be the highest ranked Group of 5 conference champion, which gets you in there, and the privilege of playing the loser of Oregon or Ohio State.
Yeah, you play the 5 seed.
Yeah.
All right. Before we say goodbye to Chip Patterson, CBS Sports Cover 3 podcast. Is Ryan Day? We mentioned Ohio State. Is Ryan Day on a little bit of a hot seat going into this season?
Yes.
Okay.
If he does not beat Michigan with one of the most talented rosters in college football history,
Yeah.
in Columbus,
Right.
yeah, 100%. I mean, this is like a chips all in. Ohio State lost that bowl game to Missouri, and I actually do know this. And the NIL emails went out right away. Like, oh, do you want to make sure this doesn't happen again? Transfer portal's about to open, and we need a bag. And they raised tens of millions of dollars quickly, went out and bought a whole bunch of talent and paid money to keep players like JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, Tyleek Williams, Denzel Burke. Like, those guys should be in the NFL, and they are Emeka Ibuka. They are seniors on a team that right now is favored to win the Big Ten. So
is Lincoln Riley on the hot seat?
No, Lincoln Riley's got a little bit of wiggle room, and he's gotten a lot more buy-in from some important USC people than I thought he was going to get. I thought he was so flippant about the way things went south at the end of last season that I even had him on a like bolt to the NFL kind of watch.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's more like
that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not hot seat. He would skip town before things got really bad.
Okay.
But they've raised a bunch of money for like new practice facilities. Their NIL operation has more than doubled its revenue over the last, like, look, I mean, these are the conversations that you have in college football. You talk about the corrupt ass Olympics, and the ways that you have to bend your brain to watch some of this stuff. I mean, when we're talking to college football coaches, we're like,
you do that to me.
when we're talking to college football coaches, we're like, hey, so, what are the things that you're thinking about? What are you concerned about? And some of the things that they're telling us is, well, like, we need to get this aligned. We need to get this organized, not just the amount of money that we raise, but like whether we're wasting time and effort and being able to like get all of that in sync. It is big business management 301. It ain't even 101. Like, you've got to be able to run an entire operation in a way that that really has never been around in college football.
Chip, it's almost time for a preseason Chip appearance on Law of the Wolf where we make some predictions.
I almost feel like we went lightning round there with Chip.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
I mean, we did have a lot to get to.
That was a lot.
A lot to get to. I got one little Giglio. Follow me here. So the principle is called late rotation Yerfies in August.
Ooh.
So
Yerf.
So yeah, Yerfies. Yes, run first inning.
Yeah.
So what we do is we find 2 pitchers that are deep in the rotation, and it's even better if they are sellers or like teams that are out of the playoff race. It's August.
Totally
it's
checked
hot.
out.
And if you're just out there and you're just like, oh man, I'm playing out the string, you might lay a meatball right there over the plate that somebody can take yard. So we are looking for not your ace, not your second starters, but when we get 3rd, 4th, or bullpen games out of both sides, it's August, it's hot, it's late in the season. We switch from being Team Nerfy to being Team Yerfy.
Plus, you also need those personal incentive bonuses. So you're swinging for those fences, man. You're not up there taking pitches. You're not working counts. We can eliminate the Indians/Guardians from that front, but the rest of them, let's do it.
Can I get odds on DraftKings for Tom Fornelli's over it attitude moving from Michigan last year in the scandal, which I always enjoyed, you guys being hyperventilating over stuff, and right. Fornelli coming in with, would you guys stop? I feel like Fornelli's I'm over it will now go to Deion Sanders and how things will play out week to week. If he's not already there, I just feel like that's going to be the case. I feel like this last story from I believe it was from 24/7.
Oh, no. Are you talking about the Athlon story?
The Athlon story.
I'm not going to let 24/7 get dragged into this.
Okay. I couldn't remember which one it was. Apologies.
So no. This is why I loved it. And I'm not going to mention the author by name because the editorializing was amazing because there was a line in there. And for those of you who haven't seen it, it was talking about locker room fights, 2 offensive linemen getting
Grand
into
Theft
a fight.
Auto.
It was talking about a gambling debt that didn't get paid. And it was talking about, there were guns in the locker room. And in the very beginning, the editorializing was, frankly, there were some sights that you never see in a locker room. Word. How many locker room fights? That doesn't happen anywhere else.
Anywhere.
Yeah, no. Like firearms in the locker room. That's never happened anywhere in college football. Oh, you tell me they're gambling with each other? What? And now they're fighting over debts? That's never happened before. I thought that he reached out to former players. He collected a bunch of bad stories, but then to editorialize it as though like this is the worst locker room in America. Took it a step too far.
Well, that's the kind of coverage we're going to get at Dion in Colorado all season. So I'm just expecting Fornelli to just come out of nowhere and go, why are we talking about this? Yeah,
well, I mean, so that we do big game breakdown on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And when I kept sliding Colorado games in there for the algorithm purposes, like at one point, Bud's brain broke live on air and he goes, I don't think this is a big game. I don't know why we're breaking it down.
Oh, dude, you talk about that algorithm game. Every so often when we talk to Bomani, I'm like, algorithm. Cooper Flag? Bomani talking about Cooper Flag?
Bomani Jones, Cooper Flag. Let's go. Come on. 3737. Let's see it.
Publish. Jackpot. All right. There we go. Totally get it, man. I totally get it. Chip Patterson, covered 3 CBS. All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Y'all be well.
Big thanks to Longleaf Swine. Check them out, longleafswine.com. You can get all sorts of stuff catered. You can order a bunch of food to take out. Better yet, just hang out at the spot. Incredible bourbon selection, great beer selection, super easy. When you hit the QR code, you can order the food. They bring it out real quick. I'm going to take my dad to Longleaf for the first time on Sunday. Looking forward to it. My dad has not been there yet.
All right. Meeting button.
Oh, yeah. Meeting time.
So on 1010, there's there's a food truck, I think, but there's like a whole parking lot and there's benches so you can go and it's covered and it says the best Cuban food in North Carolina. So I feel like there's some sort of recurring deal with your dad who enjoys food.
He does.
And good spots.
Yeah.
Where we go and we do some Hernando food.
Hernando
reviews.
on the street.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, we'll see what happens.
Because we still have to long fulfill for being number 1 in the ratings book, going to Beefmaster.
We do need, yes.
That was rudely interrupted by our dismissal.
Which time we were number 1, Joe?
That was rudely interrupted.
It was interrupted
by the reality of no longer being employed.
Weird. But yeah, no, we'll go to the Beefmaster. I took my dad to the Beefmaster for the first time. But are we doing an ad for Longleaf or are we doing the ad for the Beefmaster, Joe? Or Husk?
But that's the thing. We go to the one place and then we take them to the Swine because your dad does enjoy all types of different cuisine.
No, I know.
They have all types of different cuisine at Longleaf Swine. I've even seen you get a salad at the Longleaf Swine.
Don't sleep on the salad.
And I'm like sitting here going, really? They had a brisket Philly on the menu this week. And I was sitting there going, Adam, you cannot do this to me, sir.
I joked with Adam with the salad. He goes, yeah, there's a reason why there's a salad on the menu.
Yeah, because he has to have. Yes.
I need to have something on the menu that I can eat every so often. Need that roughage. So go check it out. Because they put the roasted chicken on it. It's excellent.
The chicken pot pie, the chicken really salad. There is a chicken salad sandwich that they do as well. I'm telling you, they have a lot of different options there. And you mentioned the catering. That's key, man. I like that catering look. You get yourself over there, longleafswine.com. There's always parking on Edenton.
Big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out, wh.lawyer. If I do something with my dad, we're going to have to get this stuff in writing. my dad likes to take credit for a lot of stuff.
Credit,
so-
or he just wants credit, not be compensated, but just hey, that was my idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of like that. So check it out. WH.lawyer, attorneys and counselors at law. Joe saw me do speaking of my dad, some Hialeah maneuvers to get us home at a decent time yesterday.
You did.
So yes, thankfully, no traffic violations. Do not need to use Whitaker and Hamer for that. Attorneys and counselors at law. Big thanks to Matt Davis over at State Farm. Check him out online. 919-779-8277 is the phone number. Call him directly. If you don't want to talk to somebody on the person, even though they're literally there in Garner, you can just visit the website, insuregarner.com, theoginsurance.com, and you can save some money. I know the weather's.
Whoa.
What's up?
I'm already mapping out the Matt Davis 12 game of the week.
Oh, yes, we do have to do that.
Week 1, I think it's going to be New Hampshire versus Central Florida, August 29th.
All right.
So if you're at the New Hampshire Central Florida game, August 29th, and have some sort of Matt Davis 12 sign, we will send you an OG
Perfect
hat. An OG hat.
Big thanks to Nature's Relief Hemp Store. Check them out online. naturesreliefhempstore.com, RELEAF hempstore.com. Don't take it from me. Take it from fake Jim Nantz this week, who had a buddy who went to Nature's Relief and apparently just turned into Ozzy Osbourne, man. It's good times. So no, look, they have all sorts of ranges of things. If you're just looking for something that that helps you out a little bit, they got something for that. If you just want to test the limits, they got stuff for that too. The most important thing about Nature's Relief and why I really enjoy them is that they have a knowledgeable staff that help you walk through something that you might not know a lot about. And that's key when we're dealing with these things. So Nature's Relief Hemp Store.
Don't ask about the sodas, though. Leave my sodas at the Timber Drive Garner location for me, please.
All right, let's get out of here on some Hey Joe. Let's head to the YouTube comment section from Nathaniel Giglio, giving off the 8-year-old cameraman recording his big bro doing something awesome as kids vibes. The way he whipped that camera over and said thank you at the end.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm not the camera.
It was cute. It was cute. Look, man, I got a headache.
That was good though. That was an end credit.
It was
mid credit roll.
Yeah,
mid roll.
It was an end credit.
Love it.
I don't know if my headache is related to that. I don't think it is. I think it has something to do with the hurricane conditions. From Adams, 5 stars. Shout out to the live band playing tight, and the singer could really sing.
Yes,
clearly, clearly,
they should be paying us for distribution.
Jeez, man. I mean, he got prime time on that hot mic. My goodness. Not everything he did. Like he did a version of. I
didn't like the Sublime song, but his Tyler Childers was good.
So that's the thing. When he stuck with like that blues rock country kind of genre, it worked. But then he did some modern stuff, and I was like, no. I don't need an over emoting version of this particular type of music. But no, that guy was fine. The only thing that cracked me up about that guy was it was almost Elon-esque. I'll get to that in a second. At one point, they finished up a song, they finished up a set, and nobody clapped. Right? There's not a lot of people there. So nobody claps, and he just goes, well, clearly we ain't out here working for applause. And then one guy in the corner just goes, woo! And he goes, oh, that's too late now. Don't start that shit now. I'm like, whoa, okay, a little combative with the audience.
Free bird!
But maybe that's just a vibe right now. It's something in the water.
Hey, man, Margaritaville. That's what I think.
Right.
Combative.
Did you see?
No more Yankee, my wanky freedom.
No Yankee freedom. Did you see where Elon is suing advertisers for not spending money on Twitter?
Oh, okay.
So Elon,
can we do that? Is this like SMU?
I don't know.
ScarJo to have sex with them?
I'm kind of monitoring this from afar because remember, at one point, Elon Musk told a group of advertisers, "quote Go fuck yourself."
Yes.
If you don't want to advertise on X.
Yes.
Cool. They went, all right. Peace. So look, Twitter stats are horrendous right now. They're losing money. They're losing active users, XYZ. And I saw they are suing a group of saying, no, this boycott of us is ruining us, and we're suing you to advertise. And I thought to myself, wait, are we doing this wrong too? I mean, clearly we're doing the football aggregation wrong.
12,000
but do we need to, so some people that we've reached out to be potential corporate champions who have either politely said, it's not on our budget, or, it's just not what we're looking for. Should we sue them? Like, no, you have to sleep with us. Are we doing it wrong?
Yeah, we got to get Smoo on board for this too.
All right,
we need to
I'm down with
consult with our friends in Dallas.
From @FanAlum on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, this was awesome. This was in relation to the Sean Clark interview from yesterday. Coach and the OG warming up to each other. Good stuff. Liberty at the Rock at night. Lots of parallels between State and App State. Can't really root for Grayson, though. Trick really went. Who was the quarterback that they went with? I'm forgetting the guy's name. DBG over Grayson. And they continued on. So, yeah, that was a good conversation that we had with Sean Clark. If you missed that, that's broken out individually on YouTube.
Appreciate App State and Sean Clark for coming on.
And the Streezy man. And Michael, he's probably at the Raycom VIP tent referring to John Swafford. Ha, UNC State. Yeah, use that. Yeah, man. The Swafford stuff runs deep.
I told Nora about
it runs deep.
John's mad that Jim Phillips let State win.
Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's OG Live.
Will there be any end credits?
Sleek Fleet. No, there will not be any.
Will there be? Stay tuned.
No, there will not be any end credits today.
Not supposed to spoil.
Stay safe. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see y'all